Well, good morning, everybody. It is our Saturday morning webinar, and my name is Judy Feldhausen, and I am co-hosting today with Bob Wischmeier. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Judy. Thanks so much for all that you do, for these wonderful slides for today. This is great, and we're going to be talking about this very last law of Les Brown's, and I'm going to be sad to not have Les Brown sitting on my desk staring at me every day. he's been my next door neighbor here on my desk for some long time now, Judy.
Well, the last year.
Yeah.
We've worked on this book for a year. And so these 12 laws that turn dreams into reality, it's been a wonderful journey.
Well, it has. And, as I was looking at this particular lesson today about leadership, or really just about life itself, I thought during this COVID-19 pandemic that we've been dealing with as a nation, as a world, this is really important stuff, to be able to laugh out loud and enjoy the moment that we're living in. We're not really trying to teach a philosophy lesson here. And we recognize, you guys, that some of us are a little more extroverted, some a little more introverted. And so we're going to, as we look at this today and these thoughts today, as good as they are, we recognize that not everyone fits into the same boat. We know that, Judy.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, Bob, this has been a really personal lesson for me, I'm sure it has been for you, and hope that it will be for other people. But as I was going through this, I really started thinking about all the times that I was laughing out loud and enjoying.
I think one of the things I want to share as we get started here is that part of leadership, to be in a leadership position, no matter where you are, no matter what your environment is, be it business or family or whatever, church things, it's part of that leadership is being able to create relationships with people. I mean, who hasn't ever gone to a store, a brick and mortar store, and had somebody be rude to you, like the clerk be rude to you or something? You don't really feel like going back to that store again. And in leadership, that you draw people to you by virtue of who you are, how you relate to people. And so it's important, I think, that we learn these things in leadership, that being able to enjoy the moment, to be kind to one another, is significant, Judy.
Absolutely. And you're right about laughing out loud is not appropriate all the time and is not for everyone. But it's really about who you are on the inside, right? And how you are doing some of the things that we're going to talk about in this lesson, and how we bring things into our hearts and our minds, and what we do with that input.
Yeah. As soon as I read this the first time, and we have a lot of stuff to go through here, but I couldn't help but think about a moment in my life where all my dignity went right down the drain. I worked in the freight industry in Montana for a lot of years, and I was unhooking a trailer of releasing the fifth wheel on a semi one time. It was cold, and Montana, freezing cold out there. And when I pulled on the handle to release the fifth wheel, it slipped, and I just went flying, and I landed on the hard ground on my wall. It hurt my butt, and I was going so hard I actually rolled off the edge and into the gutter on the side of the road. And my first thought was, I've got to just hop right up. I hope nobody saw me. But then I started laughing, and then I couldn't get off my butt out of the gutter because I was laughing so hard at myself for what I had just done. And looking back at my butt hurt, I was embarrassed and everything else. I laughed so hard at that foolishness that I about hurt my stomach in the process. You got to laugh at yourself sometimes. Oh, well.
And sometimes those memories of that laughter helps you get through some of the other times.
It does. Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought of it as soon as I read this thing, laugh out loud. I remember laying in that gutter laughing at myself. Oh boy.
yeah. And this picture of my two grandkids, every time I look at it, it brings a smile to my face because of that moment when they were so joyous.
Yeah, I knew that was your grandkids as soon as I saw it. I think I commented about that to you in an email.
You did. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see here. So Les talks a little bit about the butterfly effect, and I thought this was interesting about how one thing that happens in your life or one thing that you do really is connected to everything else that happens later. And the butterfly effect actually is, something that seems to be tiny at the time, insignificant, really has nothing to do with much else. As simple as, maybe an individual stepping on a butterfly. And you wouldn't think that that one thing would have any effect on anything else. But, that could change the course of history because everything is connected. And, the premature event death of a butterfly really could change events thousands of years into the future. And think about what we do when we replace the butterfly with a human and what that could happen. What could happen with that? I think of George Floyd, right? The death of George Floyd has changed the course of our future in this country. All the things that are going on. Just 2 nights ago, the mayor of Chicago, where I live, actually took down two statues of Christopher Columbus in the city because they were going to be damaged. And that event probably would not have happened without the death of George Floyd. It's amazing what one thing can do and the ripple effect that it can change in the whole fabric of the universe. So,
Yeah.
It just to me is really thought provoking.
It really is. And especially like you say, when you plug in people instead of a butterfly, it's significant how the kind of relationship that we have with people, especially when we are building businesses, when we are in a leadership position, how we deal with people, the way we treat people, all those kinds of things. I have 5 children, and I learned a long time ago that what I had to say, what I had to do with regard to my family, it had long-term repercussions. I remember being a little boy and things that adults said to me when I was 10 years old. I remember those things, good and bad, kind of in the life that I grew up in, the world that I grew up in. There were some not very good things that occurred in my life. My sisters and I have this conversation a lot. We struggled when we were kids because of choices our parents made. The point is that we can have a real positive or negative effect in this world just by virtue of how we deal with things, how we deal with people every day, Judy.
Absolutely. I guess, and that's one of the reasons that when I go into a grocery store and check out with a human, I make sure that I smile and wish them a good day because, sometimes that's the only smile they get all day. And I've
It
been,
is. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But
no,
you're totally right. Bonnie and I both do the same things, comment on their glasses, all kinds of odd things like that. But it changes things for people.
yeah, it certainly does. It certainly does. Um, so we do have to find happiness in the now, no matter, and it's hard. It's really, really hard when things are going really bad. And I don't think we should have false happiness. If something happens and it's absolutely devastating, you do have to, I believe, be in that moment too. Absolutely. And grief and devastation and pain and heartache, something that we need to go through. But on the other end of it, and sometimes in the middle of it, we can find the happiness.
Yeah. We've gone through a few things over the last year or so, Bonnie and I have, that have caused us to struggle a little bit being happy, in the now. Losing our son and my sister in the same week was a bit of a challenge for us. But time goes by and we're resilient, and God is good, and we can find happiness. We just have to, I don't even know what the right word is, Judy. Sometimes you just have to dig down and work through things and have faith and move forward, because men are that they might have joy. When I looked at this slide, by the way, is that one of your granddaughters?
It is.
Yeah. Now, she looks like you, by the way. When you put this slide up and shared it with me a few days ago, I thought about a family member of mine who is always on the go. She moves 100 miles an hour all the time, just kind of flits from one thing to the next thing. She's a great gal, does a lot of good things with her life, but she's never in the now. She's always on to the next thing. It's very obvious. It's obvious to everyone around her. She just goes from one thing to the next thing. Just kind of in Montana, we would have called that a fart in the wind, but we can't say that here on the webinar. But that's kind of the person she is. She's just constantly on to the next thing. And it's a little bit disconcerting to be around people like that. Finding happiness in the now is hugely significant. Take time to smell the roses, if you will. I know it's something that's important to me. It's why I live where I live. I watch every day to see how the wheat is changing, or to watch how the hay is doing, whatever. We observe those things every day here, trying to find the moment. It's big. It's a big deal to me. But then again, I'm getting kind of old, so I've learned a few things through life. Judy,
haven't we all? That's for sure. I think part of growing mature is that you can take these lessons, learn these lessons, live these lessons, and share the lessons like we're doing today with others that may not have gone through what we've gone through.
Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
This is a wonderful thought. Happiness is a choice. I wanted to share a little thing. I have a granddaughter who lives in Houston, Texas. By the way, she was here with us for a couple of weeks. She's 15 years old and old enough to fly alone. And she flew up from Texas up here, and we picked her up in Spokane, Washington, and spent a couple of weeks together. She's one of those individuals. She's very much like her dad. Her name is Abby, and she's a lot like her dad, Ben. Ben is our third child. And, Ben is big and strong and smart, has a master's degree in industrial hygiene. He works for Chevron Oil. He can bench press 300 pounds. He's a big, strong, handsome guy, but he's very quiet and always has been. He's a good singer, good athlete, but he's the kind of kid who could play alone. He was happy in the moment always. And that's how this Abby girl was. She didn't need to be taken care of all the time. She would get up, walk around the farm, look out. She'd be sitting out on a hay bale watching the sunset, that kind of thing. And her dad told me that she had gone to a girls' camp. I guess it would have been last summer. And in the process of that, the girls were asked to write down on a paper things that were troubling them in their lives. And they were going to discuss these things. And a lot of the girls were busy writing things down. And Abby, when she got home, told her dad, you know, Dad, I didn't write a thing on that paper. I feel as if I'm thriving. And I thought, you know, she was 14 at the time, but for a 14-year-old girl to think, to be happy enough and confident enough in her life to tell her dad, I'm thriving. That's significant, Judy.
Mm, so awesome. So awesome. And, you know, a lot of people have that innate ability to just be that way. You know, I've always felt that I was, you know, innately happy, but that's not always the choice. It's not always the what happens with everybody. And as I get older, it's not always, I'm not always in the state of happiness. And we really have to choose sometimes to get into that place. I've got a neighbor who she's so wonderful. When I'm out of town, she not only waters my garden, she weeds it, she picks up the little twigs and stuff that get into it. And she's always decorating my garden. And if you know me, you know I love, you know, being out and being with the flowers. And she just 2 days ago put on a couple new things in my garden, and they were little signs. And one of them was a little bicycle that said, "Enjoy the ride." And the other one was a sign that said, "Celebrate everything. Life is an adventure." And when I go out and water my garden and I read those signs, I choose to be in that moment, in that time. And it just brings a smile to my face when I see that. And not just because of the words, but because of my neighbor who chose to give me that gift.
That's awesome. You maybe should leave home more often.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Should we talk about not wasting time?
Let's talk about that.
We could spend all day talking about time management, couldn't we, Judy?
Yeah, we absolutely could. And, you know, it's so interesting because since this quarantine, the people that I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people that are CEOs and business leaders, they are so busy. You know, we're not taking the time to meet people in person, but it seems that we are taking the time to meet a lot of people virtually. And I have one specific friend that she says that she does 5 and 6 virtual coffees a day. Now, that's hours of time just getting on Zoom and talking. And I'm not sure whether it's a waste of time or a use of time. You know, that is for her to decide. But, you know, we really have to look at the time that we have and make the best use of that time, no matter what's going on in our lives.
It's absolutely true. You know, it's a resource that we don't get back. We can always make more money. You know, we can always get back to a chore, but we don't get the time back. You really, really take note of that when you're a parent or a grandparent, that you have to live in the moment. If you have an opportunity to be with the people you love, do the things that you love to do, be in that moment. Don't waste your time. Take advantage of it. It's, you know, in the kind of industry that I live in here in North Idaho, it's ranching and farming industry. You learn some really important and valuable lessons about time. There's an old adage, if it's not in your head, it's in your heels, which sounds sort of weird. If it's not in your head, it's in your heels. But when you live on a farm or a ranch like I do and have done all these years, it makes great sense. What it means is that if you're not thinking about things, if you don't have that thought process put together about what you're going to be doing next, and you leave a wrench on the workbench that you need to work on a piece of equipment, you get down to that equipment, you have to turn around, walk back and get that wrench, and then turn around and walk back again. If it's not in your head, if you're not thinking about things, you end up doing a lot of extra walking. It's a waste of time. And time management is significant for all of us. It's a limited resource, Judy. We all have the same amount of it. How do we deal with it? What do we do with that time? And there are days when going fishing is way more important use of time than working, that kind of a thing. We have to make those decisions in our lives, but man, spend it wisely, you guys.
So true, so true. And talking about going fishing.
Yeah, there you go.
So I really love this picture. I took this picture on a walk that I was with my daughter and grandchildren. And it's, to me, the layers in here are just, for me, really make importance to really take things in. So, it's a picture of a guy fishing, right, at a lake. But in the lake are the landscape is layered just so, to me, dramatically. If you would have seen it in person, because it's an empty area. There is not a house in sight, not a building in sight, just the emptiness and the openness here, and the mountains way in the background that are absolutely so gorgeous in person and so breathtaking, magnificent. And the clouds in the sky that, to me, just show the magnificence of God and the movement there. To be on this shore at that moment of time, and to be able to just take a deep breath and really take things in. And no matter whether you're on a lake or, inside your living room, we have that ability to just take a moment to stop and to really appreciate what is happening, what we're looking at, what we're feeling, what we're seeing, even what we're smelling, to get all those senses together and take them in and appreciate everything.
That's really living in the moment, isn't it? We where I live here on my farm, I walk out to out my front door and across I've got a stone walkway that I put in, and I walk over to the edge of the grain field, the wheat field, and I can see from the edge of the wheat field right out my door there, as far as the eye can see. It's unbelievable. Rolling hills of grain and wheat and hay or whatever, timber and belts of timber and mountains in the background as far as the eye can see. I look at that every day. Every night when Bonnie and I get ready to be done with the day, we go outside, we close up the shop, we close up the barn, we get the doors all taken care of and make sure everything's in place. And we walk around and we look at everything and take it all in every night. It's just, we watch the sunset. We have a beautiful sunset drops off the ridge, and our daughter-in-law or our granddaughter couldn't believe the sunsets that we have here. But we try really hard to recognize, to take in the place where we live and the beauty of the environment that we live in. We don't have any neighbors, and it's just important to us to take things in. I think it makes life worthwhile, Judy.
So this next slide, Bob, these pictures are just, they brought back a lot of memories to me.
Well, they did to me too. For those of you who are watching, some of you will recognize these, some won't, but on the top left, that's Dane and Gay Orge. That was at Dane's birthday in an event there at his house. Judy, you remember that? You were there. And
yep.
And then to the right is Jean LaValle and Dr. Tripp and Judy, Janice Smith. You remember that? That was a great day. There you got Eva Miller when she won the Slim Smart contest, lost all that weight. And look at that. Look at her. What a joyful woman. That was a great that made me cry, that when she won that event. And then over on the right, that's Eric Gamals, and then Dane and Dan Higginson, and the girl in the front is Dr. Sandra Rangel from Colombia, and then Katja Gamals. They're from Finland. And then down on the left, you recognize those people down there, Judy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There's Dan and Pete and Dane, and there's David Munoz. And that's me and Bonnie at a Synergy event a really long time ago. I have a beard now and I look a lot older. She's still pretty, but I'm looking kind of old. But anyway, yeah. And who is this? I can't remember. This person next to David. Dan Hammer would know.
Dan knows, yeah, and I know his name, and I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, it's on the. I remember. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember what I remember. But great memories. Thank you, Judy.
Yes, and and we can create great memories every day. These Synergy memories. They're special events. That very important things that happen in our lives. I'm really glad that Synergy is going to be doing things like this in the future with the trips that they have that we can win to go to Park City and also to Miami. I know that those are going to be great memories when we all go on those trips. But memories, we can create good memories ourselves every day with small, supposedly insignificant things. Remember that butterfly effect. So being present in the moment, I think, is one of the things that help us to really cement those memories in our brain.
Oh, it's true. It's so true. And yeah, we all miss those wonderful Synergy events. We've been to some really big ones through the years, but look at all the smiles on all of those faces. So good to be together with people, like-minded people and friends. And, one of the things, Judy, that you've taught me, and we're kind of running out of time here, but you taught me a long time ago how important it is to celebrate. Could you take a minute and talk to us about how important it is to learn to celebrate at the end of the day?
Yeah, and you're right. We should celebrate every day and celebrate every tiny success that we have. We think about birthdays and weddings and anniversaries and those big parties at holidays, and those are wonderful celebrations. But we have to step back and be able to celebrate our supposedly insignificant wins, because when you can do that, it really helps us to move forward into what is happening next. Because without those celebrations, it seems like work and there's no joy. But if we could just sit back and go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got through that phone call. That was so difficult to do. Hallelujah. Good for me. High five. Being able to celebrate on a regular basis is going to bring joy into your life. And I think that the more little bits of joy you get, the more you can celebrate the big things, the more you appreciate the big things, because it's just filling up that well of happiness.
Well, it is. That's, I was thinking, it's interesting you said the well of happiness. Do you do Marco Polo? I don't know how many of you on this call use that feature on your phones, but oh yeah, John Williams from Brooklyn. Thank you, Donald. I remember John Williams. What a sweetheart. Thank you for sharing that just now. The individual that we couldn't remember there in the picture. But anyway, Marco Polo is you can film yourself doing things and send it to people in your group. And a few days ago, I built a platform, and I have an old, what's called a shallow well on my farm. It's a hand-dug, brick-lined well that's been there for 100 years, probably close to 100 years. It's full of water. There's a natural spring under there, and that thing has sat there. I've pumped water out of it with an electric pump before, but I decided I wanted to have a pitcher pump on it. And so I built a platform and I plumbed a pitcher pump. That's where you can just, you prime it a little bit and then you can just by hand pump water out of it and water comes out of it. And the pump is blue and then, and I did the woodwork. It's pretty. Well, the first thing I did when I got done with it was to make a Marco Polo. I filmed me pumping water out of that and I sent it because I wanted to share that experience with my family, with my kids. And when I made that little video and sent that to Bonnie and to the kids, I immediately got responses back from my kids about that little well pump that I just plumbed in there that we can walk down, and all the grandkids, we can't wait to come and pump that handle and get water out of it. And Ben, my son Ben, with comments about, remember when we were little kids and we used to do that on the old pump. And you create a memory and share that memory. That's what life is all about. I know it's a kind of a dumb analogy, but the point is that we create memories and we share those memories and it improves life. Judy?
That is so true. And so I guess kind of in review, it's really laughing out loud and being appreciating every moment, finding happiness in the now. It really is about a choice, and we need to be aware of our time, really take things in, and create those memories so that we can continually be in the moment where we appreciate and are laughing and enjoying our lives, because life is short, and if we can just do this one lesson that Les Brown is teaching us, it's going to make an impact on everything else that we do.
Well, it is. So, life's made up of choices. What's your default? Think about it a little bit. What is your default? Do you default to the negative or do you default to the positive? It's worth thinking about because it makes a difference in life, and you can change. Any of us can change, So, Judy, thank you so much. Great stuff. I'm sad to be done with this book of Les Brown's. I'm going to have to put it on the shelf now, and he won't be staring at me now for a while.
Absolutely. And we will be back next month with a new lesson in leadership.
We will. Any thoughts, questions?
Let me make sure that you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, guys. It's Donald.
Hi, Donald.
I just want to say thanks for this journey with you. And I remember in visiting Synergy headquarters, taking some photographs of from the 4th floor building on the snow-capped mountains, and I keep it on my Facebook page because not knowing that they would not have been in that building anymore, and I've created those memories and some memories of you, Bob, and the others, Dane and the others. Thank you guys very much.
We had fun when you were there. It's a long time ago, Donald, but we fell in love with you right off the get-go, and you've been a dear friend ever since. Thank you.
I know. I thank you guys for everything.
Any other questions or comments?
I think we wowed him again, Judy.
Yeah, and and go ahead and unmute yourself. If not, I think it's time to say goodbye.
I think it is too. Listen, you guys, before we close, every Monday morning, we have a conference call that we do with Dane and Judy, Dan, David Munoz. We're on every Monday morning. Love to have you join us. It's at 7:30 Monday morning, 7:30 Mountain Time. So, with 4 different time zones involved, it can be a little bit awkward, but we start our week off together as a team. And it's short. It's just, we're 30 minutes on that call. A chance to hear from Dane, some of the things that he's up to. But we enjoy it. We've been doing it literally for years. I've been hosting a Monday call for, 9 or 10 years now. So anyway, love to have you. I can get you that number if you don't have it, but join us Monday mornings at 7:30 Mountain Time, and look forward to hearing from you. And again, Judy, thank you for being my partner for so long.
Bob and Judy, this is Dan. Before you guys go, I just want to do a plug to the Saturday presentations that we're going to do in August, so that everyone that's on today, it's imperative that you begin to talk to the people that are in your organization, people that you've sponsored, distributors that are in your organization, because what we're going to do in August is we're going to help you understand what was presented to us in the Feel the Power seminar on Wednesday. But what we're going to do is we're going to help you understand a simple game plan that is goal-orientated, that if you implement this plan, not only will it help you reach different rank advancements like gold and then to one of the team leader levels, but we're going to show you how this stuff works and how it is all interrelated, and help you then be able to understand the process, so that if this is what you want to do with your synergy business, not only will you understand the process and what exactly to key into, but also give you a game plan for success. We can't implement that game plan for you, but we can certainly show you the best ways to go about doing this and what will actually have the greatest impact on growing your synergy organization. And what we're going to show you in August is going to become the blueprint for going forward, especially with the launch of the new product coming in sometime in August. It was shown to us on Wednesday night. It's called Immune Boost. It's a fantastic product for the immune system. It's not going to be available until sometime in August, most likely the end of August. And we'll have a special presentation the 4th Saturday in August on that product. But again, next week we're going to talk about the Eagles Club and how that fits into our 10-10 Club. And then we're going to talk about the 2 goals for success. And then we're going to talk about social media strategy. And all of these things are going to tie together to give you a blueprint going forward. So I just wanted to state that. And again, encourage people that are on today to recruit the people that are in your organization to plug in for the next 4 Saturdays. Thanks, Bob and Judy.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Dan Hammer Webinars. You got to love it. Thank you so much. Judy?
Absolutely. Yes, and thank you for all the great comments in the chat box. And until next week, when Dan is going to be talking about the Eagle system. Great way to do your business and to share with customers and bring new distributors on. We appreciate you being here, Bob. Thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure sharing my thoughts with you and with everyone else.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. God bless, and we'll see you all again before you know it.